Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Mangesh Dushing, working as Assistant Professor in Chemistry at Maratha Vidyaprasad Samaj, Nasik. Friends, in this video, we are going to learn chemical bonding, introduction to the chemical bonding. In that case, we will learn about covalent bonding. Friends, organic chemistry is the chemistry of carbon compounds. So in carbon compounds, there are so many types of bondings are there, like covalent bonding, ionic bonding and metallic bonding. In that case, we will learn about covalent bonding. Friends, there are three theories known up to now that for covalent bonding. First one is valent bond theory and orbital hybridization. Second one is modes of orbital overlap and types of covalent bonds. Third one is molecular orbital theory and electron delocalization. Friends, we will learn about valence bond theory in short. So, a covalent bond forms when the orbitals of two atoms overlap and a pair of electrons occupy in an overlapping region, that is called as new orbital, new molecular orbital. So, that is called as covalent bond according to the valence bond theory. The space formed by the overlapping of atomic orbitals can accommodate a maximum 2 electrons, and these electrons must have opposite spins, means clockwise and anti-clockwise. There are two different spins. Greater is the orbital overlap, stronger is the bond. If orbital overlap is larger, the extent of overlap is large, then the bond which is formed after overlap of atomic orbital, that bond becomes more stronger bond. So extent of orbital overlap depends upon the orbital shape and direction. So what types of orbital overlaps are there? So in case of hydrogen bond formation, we know that hydrogen, this is the one hydrogen atom. So hydrogen contains 1s orbital, second hydrogen 1s orbital. So these are the electrons. Now these two s orbitals overlaps. So this overlapping area contains two electrons and their spins are opposite. One is clockwise, one is anti-clockwise. So this region is called as molecular orbitals, and these are the two atomic orbitals. One is 1s. This is the 1s orbital of one hydrogen atom. This is the 1s orbital of second hydrogen atom. They will get overlap linearly. Then sigma bond will form, and that bond contains these two sigma electrons. So a covalent bond results from orbital overlaps of two atoms. The shared space, so this is the shared space, is occupied by two electrons which have opposite spins. Friends, if orbital orientations and maximum overlap, then bond becomes strong. For example, this is the formation of HF molecule. So hydrogen having a 1s orbital, while the fluorine, the valence is a p orbital. P orbital contains 1 p electron. So there will be the linear overlap of this H s orbital and F 2p orbital. This overlapping area contains two electrons with opposite spins. So there will be the sigma bond between H and F, and these are the sigma bonding electrons. Similar case for fluorine molecular. So this is fluorine, contains 2p orbital, and this is again 2p orbital of second fluorine atom. There is a 2p overlap and forms a sigma bond between fluorine and fluorine. This is a overlapping area, contains two electrons with opposite spin. So greater is the extent of orbital overlap, stronger is the bond. If the extent of orbital overlap is large, the area of this overlapping is large, then bond which is formed, that is called as strong bond. The bond which is formed by the linear and coaxial overlap. See here, this is the linear. Linear means in a line, one line. So linear and coaxial. Coaxial means similar axis. So s orbital don't have any axis, but p orbital has an axis. So this is x axis of s orbital, and this is the x. So 2px orbital, 2px orbital. So there will get overlap. So bond which is formed by the linear or coaxial overlap two atomic orbitals, then that bond is called as sigma bond. So these are the two px orbitals overlaps each other by linear fashion or coaxial fashion, then whatever the bond which is formed in between these two fluorine atoms is called as sigma bond. So the bond which is formed by lateral or parallel, or you can say sidewise overlap of atomic orbital, that bond is called as pi bond. So as we know that in the last slide, that is sigma bond. Sigma bond means linear overlap. But in case of pi bond, the bond which is formed by lateral means parallel. Suppose these are the two p orbitals, lateral overlap of two atomic orbitals, that bond is called as pi bond. So the extent of overlap, that is area of overlap in a lateral overlap, is small. That makes pi bond is weaker than sigma bond. For example, see here, suppose this is the carbon atom. This is the p 2p orbital of this carbon atom. This is 2p orbital of another carbon atom. So there will be the overlap. This overlapping area is called as sigma bond. While in case of these are the 2p orbitals unhybridized. So these are the parallel to each other. Now this parallel overlap of 2p orbitals, then this bond which is formed by this parallel overlap or sidewise overlap, then that is called as pi bond. So this p orbital overlaps forms a pi bond. So here extent of overlap is less. See here, this is the extent of overlap, area of overlap. Well, here is area of overlap is less. You cannot see the overlap also in this diagram, but they consider as a overlap is there. So the extent of overlap, that is area of overlap in lateral overlap, is small. That makes pi bond is weaker than sigma bond. Friends, remember, pi bond is weaker than sigma bond. So what are the limitations of valence bond theory? The limitations are octet rule not valid in case of BF3 and BeCl2. For example, friends, in valence bond theory, the central atom should have octet in its outermost shell. But in this some of the molecule there are exceptions like BF3. So outermost shell of this boron contains only 6 electrons. 3 electrons of this boron and 3 electrons from this fluorine. So only 6 electrons. Octet is not complete. Well, in case of beryllium also, the outermost shell of this beryllium contains 4 electrons only. 2 electrons from this chlorines while 2 electrons from beryllium. As well as some molecules are there, stable molecules, but they does not contain octet rule, they does not valid octet rule, but they contains more than 8 electrons in its outermost shell. For example, PCl5, it contains 10 electrons in its outermost shell, 5 electrons from this 5 chlorines and 5 electrons from this phosphorus. So there are 12 electrons. While in SF6, there are 6 electrons in its outermost shell, 6 electrons from this 6 fluorine and 6 electrons from this sulfur. So there will be the 12 total electrons in a sulfur's outermost shell. Some of the atoms shows a different valency. So valency are the unpaired electrons observed into the outermost shell, but valencies are different than the observed. In case of beryllium, there is no unpaired electron in its outermost shell. Still, it shows a 2 valency. It should not have it should show the 0 valency because there is no unpaired electrons in its outermost shell. But still beryllium shows a 2 valency. See this, it forms this compound beryllium chloride. So it has a 2 valency. Similarly boron contains only one unpaired electron in its outermost shell. So its valency should be 1, but it shows a valency 3. It forms a compound BF3 with valency 3. The well-known example is carbon. In a carbon, outermost shell contains, that is 2p orbital contains only 2 electrons. So carbon valency should be 2, but carbon shows a 4 valency. So the valencies are different than the observed in case of some atoms. Expected and observed bond angles are different. For example, H2O. So it is only there are only 3 atoms, HOH. So bond angle should be 180. If you want to keep all these atoms maximum away from each other, so bond angle should be 180. But bond angle is not 180, it's less than 180. So expected and observed bond angles are different. So these are the limitations of valence bond theory. So to explain the observed valences of beryllium, boron and carbon elements, and the observed geometries and bond angles of molecules like H2O, NH3 and methane, the concept of hybridization comes forward, and this concept is hypothetical but essential. It's not a practical, it's just a hypothetical. So the orbitals that forms when the bonding occurs are different from the atomic orbitals in the isolated atoms. If no change occur, we could not account for the molecular shapes that are observed. Atomic orbitals mix or hybridize when bonding occurs to form a hybrid orbital. So atomic orbits gets mixed or hybridized, that is called as, and what are the bonds or what are the orbitals which are formed after hybridization, those orbitals are called as hybrid orbitals. The spatial orientation of these hybrid orbitals corresponds with the observed molecular shapes. So spatial, it's not spatial, it's a spatial orientation, means orientation of these hybrid orbitals in the space that corresponds, that gives the observed molecular shapes to that particular molecule. So what is hybridization? So the process of mixing and recasting means redistribution. The process of mixing and recasting of atomic orbitals of different energy in an isolated atoms to form a new set of orbitals with equal energies. It's called as hybridization. So mixing and rearrangement of atomic orbitals with slightly similar energies, or you can say different energies, in an isolated atom to form a new set of orbitals with equal energies. So after hybridization, whatever the orbitals you are getting, those are having equal energies, and it forms this same, gives the same number of sets of orbitals. For example, 2 orbitals if you mixed, you will get 2 hybrid orbitals. If you are mixing 3 orbitals, you are getting 3 hybrid orbitals. If you are mixing 4 orbitals, you are getting 4 hybrid orbitals with equal energies. So the number of hybrid orbitals formed equal to the number of atomic orbital mixed. Means if you are going to mix 4 atomic orbitals, you are going to get 4 hybrid orbitals. The type of hybrid orbitals formed varies with the type of atomic orbital mixed. So the which type of orbitals, atomic orbitals you are going to mix, depending upon that which type of hybrid orbitals you will get, that depends upon the which type of atomic orbitals you are going to mix. म्हणजे जे तुम्ही atomic orbital mix कराल ज्या टाईपचे, समजा F असेल, S असेल, P असेल, त्याप्रमाणे तुम्हाला त्या टाईपचे हायब्रिड ऑर्बिटल्स मिळतील. The shape and orientation of the hybrid orbital maximizes the overlap with other atoms in the bonds. Shape and orientation of the atomic orbitals or hybrid orbital maximizes the overlap with the other atoms in the bond. So shape and orientations, what are the hybrid orbitals, that maximizes means overlap will be maximum, so bond will be stronger bond in case of hybrid orbitals rather than in case of atomic orbitals. So the type of hybridization of the central atom depends upon nature and the number of its orbitals such as s orbital, p orbital, d orbital taking part into the hybridization. So there are many types of hybridizations, but in our syllabus, in this syllabus, the hybridization using only s and p orbitals. So there are 3 types of hybridizations according to s and p orbitals. So there are three: sp3 hybridization, sp2 hybridization and sp hybridizations. So in next video we are going to learn about all these hybridizations and formation of some organic molecules. In this video whatever you are learning, that hybridization, this is the basic concept. You should know the definition, you should know the properties of hybridization, and we should know the proper classification of hybridization. Thank you friends, thank you for the watching.